I know what you're thinking, not Double Dragon again. Well, this time it's a request from Nick Bryant for the Sega Megadrive version. So let's give it a try. He wants my opinion. Let's see what I think of it. Okay, so this is Double Dragon on the Sega Megadrive, published by Accolade in 1992. The original arcade game was released by Technos in 1987, so quite a gap in getting this out on the Megadrive. Obviously the Megadrive didn't come out until around 1989 anyway, but it's still quite a late release. And to be honest, you had the Streets of Rage games, at least the first one would have been out by this time, I think probably the second as well. So yeah, this is a request by Nick Bryant, and Nick listens to the Retro Asylum podcast. He knows that I'm into Double Dragon in a big way. Double Dragon, the arcade game, is my favourite arcade game. It's also my favourite scrolling beat 'em up. So let's give this a try. I have played it in the past, so this is just to refresh my memory and to give you all a nice review. So, as arcade conversions go, it's pretty good. It's probably the closest to the arcade game in terms of a conversion. You've got all the moves, more or less. The physics are a little bit floaty, if I'm being honest, but graphically it's nice. The sprites are very similar to the arcade game. Backgrounds have been redrawn, and in a way they're improved, but the colour palette lets it down. But of course it's the Megadrive, you can only do so much. So let's take a look and try and spot a few differences between the arcade game and this. The wanted posters, for starters, look totally different. I don't know if they're supposed to be the bad guys or if that's the pictures on the posters are more like the programmers. Maybe they've put their own images in there. Don't know. Don't really look like sprites, but maybe that's what they was trying to do. Yeah, the sound effects are really weak. The music's okay. I've never been a fan of the Megadrive sound chip. Some games sound great. Most of them I'm not really into. I was an Amiga boy when this was out, and as we know, the Amiga had great sound. Right, I played this a while back, and something I did remember was that in this version, Linda can elbow. Let's see if we can get to do it here. I'll do it on this stage, but in the arcade game, Linda didn't elbow until Double Dragon 2, so that's obviously something the programmers have seen and brought into this game. Yep, some of the sprites of the colour palette restrictions, they've got some funky hair going on. Got a black Bobo here. Coming out the wall in the arcade, he was white. There's some text missing on the poster, but it doesn't matter, does it really? It's not the, it doesn't affect the gameplay, which is very similar. Poster up there in the arcade, that was a Renegade poster. The cat has been severely reduced in size, a lot more realistic. In the arcade game, you had Bagpuss sitting on the dustbin. It wasn't coloured white and pink. A big change is some of the weapons, or all of the weapons in fact, they disappear after they've been used so long. And the barrel, the physics on it are totally different. It just goes down diagonally, hits the floor. In the arcade game it bounced, and you could kick the box and the barrel and the rock. You can't do that in this version. So, wander off just like the arcade game. Don't know what happened there, the sprite actually disappeared and the barrel was stuck in mid-air. Great quality control there. But still, this is a lot better than the other 16-bit conversions by Binary Design, which were released on the Melbourne House label back in 1989. I'm going to put some footage here of the Amiga version. As you can see, it looks awful. The backgrounds are okay, quite okay I guess. The sprites themselves were rubbish and the game played rubbish. It had terrible sound effects, no in-game music, and it just looked pathetic. And to think that that was released at around $24.99. Anyway, back to the Megadrive version. And yeah, it plays very similar to the arcade. No slowdown, which is great because the arcade game really did suffer in places from terrible slowdown. And that is you know, at the time in 1987, I didn't really notice it, to be honest. But obviously playing it nowadays, it is something I notice, and yeah, it does affect the game, there's no doubt about it. Obviously these games are a lot more fun in 2-player, but as per usual for these reviews, I haven't got Andy here because he's actually moved to South London, he's no longer in Essex, so I'm Billy No Mates at the moment. Yeah, it's alright. I mean, to be honest, I love Double Dragon, but I've played it so much now, it's getting to the point where even I'm bored of it. But that's what happens when you're into a game a bit too much, which I have been. Here's the boss. I want to show you the boss before I go because he is just... What's happening there? This is what keeps happening on this version. Certain enemies disappear. It's definitely buggy. The boss is basically, in the arcade, he looks slightly different to you. He's got a different head. And in this version, he's just a recoloured Jimmy or Billy Lee sprite. So yeah, that was Double Dragon on the Sega Megadrive. I hope you've enjoyed the review.